Hi everyone, welcome back. It's the Luxe Bag Princess, and I think, locked in and ready to film everybody's favorite video series. So I think today I am going to start filming my annual entire Louis Vuitton collection video. I try to film this video every year. It's sort of reached a point where I put it off because it's such a big job now. I have so many bags. Like back in the day when I had like 10 bags, 20 bags, it wasn't that big of a lift, but now it's a really big job. And I always have so many people who are requesting this video. I always get comments on YouTube about it. So I think I'm going to sit down and do it. And I apologize, it's a bit of a dreary day, but that's okay. We will make it work. So as we always do with housekeeping, I'm the Luxe Bag Princess, formerly known as the Louis Vuitton Princess. If you are interested in seeing more of my Louis Vuitton collection, you can find me on Instagram at the Luxe Bag Princess. If you're interested in shopping, sourcing, or consigning with me, you can stop by my Instagram, shop Luxe Bag Princess. I have been collecting Louis Vuitton for about a decade now. I brought my first Louis Vuitton Speedy 30 in 2014. And I have over the years owned definitely not all of the styles, but I have owned most of the styles. I have brought a lot of bags. I have sold a lot of bags. But the bags that I'm showing you today are mostly my permanent residence, for lacking of better words, bags that I have brought and I've had for a very long time, bags that I have brought and I will continue to have for a very long time. Just generally items that will not be going anywhere. They're items that were highly sought after by me, that in some cases I saved up a lot of money for. So these are my permanent residence. I will try to give a little detail about the items as I remember. I don't remember all the details about everything, but I do usually remember what I paid. And that is what a lot of people are always interested in hearing about most, is how much I paid for a lot of these. So without further ado, I'll start with some accessories, and we will start with this multicolor Blanc French purse. So this is actually a recent purchase. I purchased this wallet sometime this year, and as you can see, it's in the multicolor Blanc. I am a big fan of the French purse. I only paid $200 for this, which is why I bought it, because I'm not a huge fan of the colorway, but you know, I could sacrifice the colorway for the price point. I'm a big fan of the multicolor French purse, and I've said this many times over. I'm a big fan of the multicolor French purse because a lot of the French purses have cracking issues, and those cracking issues are around the perimeter. So I really like the multicolor French purse because it has vachetta trim, and that is the #1 means of preventing cracking issues. Okay. Next up, we will look at my multicolor Blanc heart coin purse. This one I've had for a few years now. I brought this one around the same time as when I purchased my watercolor Speedy, the first one I purchased, and I absolutely love the heart coin purses. I have them in you know, Blanc, and I also have the coveted Steven Sprouse monogram heart coin purse. So I'm a very big heart coin purse girly. I love them a lot. They're one of my absolute favorite pieces. This one I paid a lot for. I don't remember how much, but this was not a bargain. I absolutely paid sort of market price for that. Next, we'll get into my clays. So this is my Multicolor Noir clay. I have gone through several of these, but this is the one I landed on. My first Multicolor Noir clay I got for really cheap. Didn't like the colorway, sold it. Got another one for really cheap. Didn't like the colorway, sold it. So this is the one I landed on. And as you can see, it has my preferred colorway with the super pretty blues and greens. And it's also just generally in very good shape. So I was very, very happy to purchase this one. If I can get it to focus. There we go. Okay, next up we've got my pouchette extender, which isn't really an item to show you guys, but it's just here. I have a bunch of these for extending pouchettes, and this I think is my oldest multicolor piece. I'm pretty certain this is the first multicolor piece I brought, and this is my Multicolor Blanc clay. I absolutely love this piece. I purchased this for $200, and again, this is my this was my first Louis Vuitton multicolor piece. When I first was kind of starting to think that I wanted to get into Louis Vuitton multicolor, I wanted to, you know, buy something sort of small and see, you know, how I liked it and how I liked the print, just to kind of test it out before I purchased something larger. And this was my sort of trial piece for multicolor. So next up, I have my Multicolor zippy coin purse, and this one's in Multicolor Blanc. This one I paid $100 for, and very, very, very happy because this one has the bubblegum pink interior, which is my favorite of the Louis Vuitton interiors. So I really, really, really love this piece. Next up, we have, it's called like the Heart de Grade bag charm. This was a very popular piece when it first came out. I think like in the mid to late 2000s. Louis Vuitton was not really making a lot that was pink. So when this first came out, everybody really loved it. And this was during that era where Damier and Rose Ballerine were all the craze. If you know, you know. But I was a big fan of the a big fan of the Heart de Grade charm, which is vernis, and that one was actually offered up to me by a follower, and I purchased it from a follower. Next up, I have my Louis Vuitton Panda keychain. This I got for $100. I purchased this from someone who I brought a lot of Louis Vuitton items from. So this one I've had for a while, and I've purchased quite a few pieces from this person over the years, but I absolutely love this charm. I actually purchased quite a few pieces from the Panda collection from this person, but that's one of the only ones I still have. So next is my Bandeau drawer. Even this is not all my Bandeaus, but it's a lot of them. So we have my Multicolor Blanc Bandeau, and there was a fiasco with this. I brought my first Multicolor Blanc Bandeau for $100. I sold it. I don't even know why. I got another one for I think like $200 something. I sold that one. Again, I don't know why. I got another one and I ended up losing that one. So I went out and I brought another one because I lost that one. And I ended up finding it. I had a short list for a while of Louis Vuitton items I had lost. It was one of the two items on that list. I ended up finding both of them, but then I found myself in the predicament of I had two Multicolor Blanc Bandeaus, so I ended up selling one this year. This is one of my favorite Bandeaus. It is the Animal Bandeau, and this one is in the leopard. I really love this one. I'm a big cheetah print fan, and I've had a lot of the cheetah print bandeaus, but I really like this one the most. I don't know, probably because it has the actual like leopard on it. I think it's really cute, but I'm a big fan of that bandeau. Next up, you cannot have the Multicolor Blanc bandeau without having the Multicolor Noir bandeau. So this is my Multicolor Noir bandeau. This one took me a while to track down. I don't really remember how much I paid for this one or when I got it. I honestly don't remember buying this one at all, to be honest with you, but really, really, really happy with it. This is a recent purchase. I haven't used it yet. I haven't taken the tags off. Kind of bad of me, but this is a recent purchase, and this is the Louis Vuitton watercolor bandeau. This one I basically just wanted because I have a lot of watercolor bags in my collection now, and the watercolor bandeau is pretty hard to find. You don't find this bandeau. You don't see it very often, and I don't know. I figured the watercolor collection is pretty exclusive itself. You don't see, you know, the pieces from that collection very often. So it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you're going to get into the collection, you might as well just like get all of it. This is my favorite bandeau, and I don't often have favorites in my collection, but this is my favorite bandeau. It's the Louis Vuitton Desperado bandeau. It's super cute. It's got perfect colors. It's literally my favorite shade of purple, my favorite shade of pink, my favorite shade of blue. The colors on this bandeau are to die for. It's essentially just classic cars posted up in the desert with this beautiful sunset background. I absolutely love and adore this bandeau. I think it's so freaking cute. It's by Alex Israel, and on the back side it has this kind of like LV skyline thing going. Very, very big fan of this bandeau. This is one that I actually called in to my essay at the time to hold one for me to buy. And you guys know I don't buy from the boutique very much, so something has to be very, very, very special for me to actually like call in and want something held to buy. Okay. Now we're gonna go into bin number 1. So in bin number 1, let's see what we've got. So in bin number 1, it's like a guessing game. The first bag, yes, a favorite we're pulling out, is my Louis Vuitton I Love You. It's a little flattened because it's been in the bin. That's fine though. This is my Louis Vuitton I Love You. This is a super rare limited edition Murakami piece. All of the Murakami bags with the eyes are super rare, super limited. I absolutely love this piece. It is the sack retro bag style. There are a few sack retros within the Louis Vuitton landscape, but this is the Multicolor I Love You sack retro. I've had that bag for a long time, and I actually purchased it for $700 from that same person I purchased the Panda Charm from. I brought a lot of like really niche limited editions from that seller. Next up is my Kusama Papillon. This one's also a little bented. I said bent. Needs a little shaping, but that's fine. This is my Kusama Papillon, and this is the NM Papillon, and this one I purchased right at the beginning of the pandemic. This is the Papillon 30, and again, it's the NM, so it has the pocket and it also has the longer shoulder straps. But as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Kusama. I'm not a big fan of the new release of Kusama bags, but I'm a huge fan of the original Kusama release. And so that was one I had to have. And wow, that's a big dust bag. And while I am on that kick, I will also show you guys my beloved, this one's folded down in the Speedy fold, my beloved Kusama Speedy 30. This is one of my first limited edition bags that, as I say all the time, I spent a bunch of time saving to be able to buy. I have had this one for a long time, since I was in college, and I spent a lot of time saving up for this one. Yellow is my favorite color, and I really enjoy the Kusama. I mean, look at how big this dust bag is, guys. It's like bigger than me. But anyways, I really love the Kusama yellow. I think it looks like sunflowers, and this was one that I spent a lot of time saving up for. Okay, next, this is one of my favorite bags, and this is the Louis Vuitton limited edition locket and this one was a little treat for myself when I first started working. This one also needs a little stuffing, but that's okay. They only take a little stuffing to fully regain shape. But this is my locket and this is the limited edition locket. I personally enjoy the limited edition locket way more than the traditional locket. I think it's so cute, so classy. This is one that, you know, I feel like it really gives Birkin. It really gives high luxury. And I actually have a detailed video on this bag on my channel. It's also leather lined. This one is perfect. This is what I call my Olivia Pope bag. It's very classy. Lots of pretty hardware, I love that the handles are firm and not floppy. I am a very big fan of this bag. And again, guys, as you can see, even though I do store some of these in these totes, I do still keep them in dust bags, because you should try to always store your bags in dust bags no matter where they are. As far as the shaping, you can always stuff them and get the shaping back. So next up, we have my Mount Saurus MM. This one, again, as you can see, is a little flat from being stored, but that's okay. This is my Mount Saurus MM, and this, I believe, was actually my first Mount Saurus I purchased. This was during the mini backpack craze of like 2018, 2019. And this one I purchased kind of just for fun, to be honest with you. I know I only paid $250 for this bag. That was my main incentive for purchasing it, because I didn't really even care about the mini backpack craze, to be completely honest with you. But I had the opportunity to buy one for, you know, $250. So it's like, I'm gonna buy it. Like, I'm not gonna leave a $250 Louis Vuitton backpack. So next is my Mount Saurus PM, and you can tell that this one is the PM because it has the leather handle on the back versus the MM has the metal brass handle on the back. And this one I purchased from one of my sources in Japan, whom I actually buy a lot of bags from. The PM and MM are very similar. The PM is smaller, obviously, but it's only smaller by a little bit. So I wasn't even really sure if I was going to get the PM, but it was kind of this thing of like, I have the MM and I have the GM, so I might as well get the PM. And like I said, sorry, that was my dog yawning. Like I said before, one of my sources actually had this bag and they had it for very cheap. So I kind of just had the attitude of like, well, again, I'm just gonna get it because I already have the MM and GM. So I might as well get the PM. This is a classic from my collection. This is the Louis Vuitton Multicolor Noir Alma GM, and I've had this bag probably for like a good 5 or 6 years now. I purchased this one, I remember, off of eBay, and I was very lucky. It came all the way from Russia. some years ago, and this one I purchased for only $500, which again, if you're familiar with Louis Vuitton and Multicolor, you know that's absolutely insane and crazy. It doesn't have any major damage. Like, you know, there's some vachetta that's a little dark, there's a little patina, a few water spots here and there, but there's no major damage on this bag. So this was an incredible find for $500. I don't really shop on eBay too much these days. I do a little bit, and no, this wasn't an auction. This was one I just brought. I don't remember who the seller was. I actually don't think they're on eBay anymore, because whenever I get like a really good deal on something on these sites, I usually save the seller so I can go back and see if they post more good stuff. So I actually don't think she's around anymore, because I used to go check her page all the time, and she sold some pretty good items for a while, but I don't think she's around. So last but not least, from this bin, we have my Mount Salus GM. Again, she's a little flat from being stored. That's okay. It's ideal to store your bags flat if you're going to store them. But this is the GM. This is the largest of the Louis Vuitton backpacks. And this one I purchased off of Posh quite a few years back. And I brought this one for $400. I remember that this one was $400. Sorry, my dog is rolling on the floor. I know this one was $400, and again, that was my first book bag I purchased. It was kind of one of those same scenarios where it's like, well, I'm not really in the market for the Mount Salus per se, but for the price point of a few $100s, really can't just leave it. So even if I'm just like scrounging the money up, basically, I'm gonna scrounge it up, because that's just too good of a price point to leave it. And I don't know how much the Mount Saluses are going for now. I'm gonna assume they're probably going for a bit more now, because the Mount Salus has been re-released, and typically when bags re-release, they gain a lot of resale value overnight. So I'm sure the Mount Saluses are worth more than I paid for them on the current market. But I'm very glad I bought mine when I did, because I don't use them a ton. They're travel pieces for me. I mostly use my Mount Saluses when I'm traveling. And as I've said in videos I've made before, I call my travel pieces utility bags, meaning they're not pieces that I really baby or anything like that, because again, it's a book bag. Like, you're not going to be babying a book bag. So I like to buy those sorts of pieces for a lot less money, so that way, you know, if they do get, you know, light wear and tear, I don't really care. So I think we'll take a quick detour, and I will show you guys some of my hard-sided pieces. So the first hard-sided piece I'm going to show you guys was actually my first one. It's my presidential briefcase, and this one I know I brought from some random man on Facebook Marketplace for $900. And I absolutely love this briefcase. It's so cute, and this one is lined on the inside with this beautiful green Tyga leather. So somebody definitely customed this one to get it lined exactly how they wanted, and I really love this piece. I think it's so cute, so classy. I was so proud of myself when I brought this, even though it's just a briefcase, because this was my first hard-sided Louis Vuitton piece, and everyone knows that Louis Vuitton is all about, you know, the hard-sided pieces. So it was a really big accomplishment for me to have my first hard-sided Louis Vuitton. Next, I'll show you my next hard-sided piece, and this is one I actually got a few months ago. This is the Louis Vuitton Coateville 40, and this is a piece that I actually renoed. When I first got this piece a few months ago, I brought it for $700. insane. I bought it for $700 a few months ago, and when I got it, all of the hardware was completely black. It was completely black with tarnish that was not going away. Even with a sunshine cloth, the tarnish was not going away. So I actually had to make a custom in-house organic hardware cleaner. Had to put that material science and chemistry degrees to use and get all of the tarnish off. And if you don't believe me, you can check out my Instagram, the Luxe Bag Princess. I have an Instagram reel and pictures showing it. And you can also check out my luxury restoration Instagram, Engineers du Luxe. And I have all the details about that there. But that is how I restored the hardware on this piece. And as you can see, it's literally shinier than ever. You can never tell this hardware was completely black. And I absolutely love this piece. It's the DeVille 40. I have some dust bags in here right now, but this one is sort of like a suitcase, basically. One that you would definitely find. Oh, it smells good. I store little scent sachets in a lot of my hard-sided pieces, and it smells great. But this is one that you would definitely see in a trunk tower. The only thing I haven't gotten around to shining on here is I did not go and shine all of the individual studs. That would really just be a lot of work. I'm sure I absolutely could, but that would just be like way too much work. Like, to be honest, I didn't care that much. I just wanted the main hardware to not be completely black instead of being shiny brass. I wasn't invested enough to clean every single, you know, fastener and make it shiny. That was too much. So next, we'll go into our next bin. And we will take a look at one of my favorite, most beloved pieces, and that is my Louis Vuitton Agenda GM in Multicolor Blanc. This was absolutely one that was big peer pressure for me. When I got into the brand back in the mid-2010s, agendas were all the rage. There were whole groups that were dedicated to agendas and planners on Facebook. Everybody was just super, super, super pressed and super, super, super into the Louis Vuitton agendas. And so at that time, the most coveted was the Louis Vuitton Agenda GM. And so I was very, very lucky to buy one of these from a seller based in Japan. And I remember I paid $1,200 for this, worth every penny. This is one of those pieces, and I bring this up with Multicolor all the time, that there are some pieces I like more in Blanc and there are some pieces I like more in Noir, and I don't know why, but something about the Agenda GM, I like this piece more in Blanc. So I've never really been pressed to get it in Noir. It's like, I wouldn't be mad to have it in Noir, but they're very, very, very expensive. Even my Blanc one I got for a really good price, and I like it so much in Blanc. I'm not really that pressed to have it in Noir. So there's that. Next up, we have my Louis Vuitton Multicolor Kelly, and this is the monogram Multicolor Kelly. I have the Multicolor Kelly in monogram, and I also have it in the limited edition Centenaire print, which I'm sure I will show you guys later. But I am a big fan of the Multicolor Kelly. I've said time and time and time again that I think it is one of the classiest bags that the brand has ever made. I think it's so pretty. And I mean, it's truly timeless. These were made in the 90s. You see them most commonly in epi leathers, but again, they were made in the monogram and the Damier Abine for limited edition Centenaire. And I personally prefer those prints more, but I'm a huge fan of the Multicolor Kelly. It's one of my favorite bags, and that's why I own more than one. Absolutely love and adore that bag. Okay, now we're going to get to a really special bag. I pulled this one out earlier. This is my Louis Vuitton DeVille, and this is the oldest bag in my collection, not year-wise, but oldest in terms of how long I've been collecting. This is one of the bags that is from my original collection when I only had 4 bags a long time ago. And to be honest, if I knew... my camera. Sorry, technical difficulties. If I knew what I knew now, I absolutely would have kept all my original bags. I would not have sold my original 4 Louis Vuitton bags. But again, back when I had those 4 bags, I did not think I was going to become a Louis Vuitton collector. I did not think I was going to become a luxury blogger. I didn't think any of that. So at the time, it was just like, okay, I'm going to sell some of these bags I don't really use anymore so I can buy more bags that I'm going to use. I didn't really think about it in those terms, but I'm really glad that I didn't sell this one. I kept this one because this one is very, very, very special to me. Again, it was my original. I was so freaking happy with this bag. I saved for a long time to buy this bag. I brought it for $385 and I absolutely love and adore this bag. It's beat up and I don't really have a lot of bags in my collection that are beat up, but this is one that, just like beat up or not, I will not sell it. I have had the opportunity to have nicer DeVilles. I even sold a DeVille earlier this year that was essentially brand new. So I have had the opportunity to have better DeVilles. And the DeVille is actually one of my favorite handbag styles from Louis Vuitton, but I will just never get rid of that one because it's very sentimental to me. So this is a bag that I really thought I was going to like a lot and carry a lot, but I don't, and it's kind of surprising to me that I don't. But I still absolutely love the bag. I toy with selling it every now and again, mostly just because I don't use it as much as I thought I would. But then it's one that I know if I did sell it, I would just regret it so bad because it took me such a long time to track this one down, and it's the exact colorway that I like, and I know I would just regret it so much. This is a Louis Vuitton Chrissy. This is one that was on my wish list for a long time, and to be honest, I think that might be some of the reason why I don't carry it as much, because it is one that was so special to me that like I'm scared of it getting messed up. But I love and adore the Chrissy. As you can see, it's Multicolor Noir, and it's from that kind of like sub-genre of multicolor where they have a lot of studs like the Courtney and the Courtney clutch, all those bags. It's the shoulder bag variation. So I'm a very big fan of the Chrissy, and I really want to start carrying it. I think I'm going to try to make it a priority to start carrying this bag because it is really beautiful and I do really love it. It's just like, it was one of those bags that I sort of, you know, I sort of like lusted after for such a long time, basically, that like once I got it, I was kind of scared to use it because I just spent so much time admiring it and wanting it. So this is one I purchased, I think last year. And I really love this bag. I purchased this one from a seller that I buy from a lot. Again, this one needs a little shaping, but she's fine. This is my Louis Vuitton Ursula, and this one is in Multicolor Noir. The Ursula is a bag I went back and forth on for a long time because one of the things about the Ursula that's kind of tricky is you can't actually tell like how big it is. So I would see the Ursula a lot and I would sort of think like it's too small because in a lot of the pictures that I would see of it, it looked small. But you can tell when you actually see it in person, it's actually not a small bag at all. It's actually quite large. And so I'm really glad I took the plunge on the Ursula. It was another one that I hesitated on buying for a really long time because they also are really expensive usually. And I was like, oh boy, like I don't want to spend that kind of money and, you know, I don't like it or something, or it's too small. It's one that definitely skyrocketed when multicolor became popular again, because when I first entered the brand, multicolor was considered to be like out, like nobody was into multicolor, and you would see the Ursula in particular all the time for like $500. Like that was the price point for a decent condition Louis Vuitton multicolor Ursula. it was around $500. You would see them all the time for that price. And I guess I kind of took that for granted. I always had this view of like, I don't really know if I want to take the plunge on it now, but like, whatever. They're always like $500. If I decide I want one later, I'll just buy one later. It's like, how wrong could I have been that Louis Vuitton Multicolor was going to have the humongous comeback that it did? And so now there's no way you're going to find a good condition Louis Vuitton Multicolor Ursula for $500. It's just not going to happen. But I did think 800 I did feel like was sort of comparable. Okay. Now we're going to go into our next bin. I told you guys this was a big jump. So first up is my favorite pair of shoes. And everybody who knows me knows these are going to be my favorite pair of shoes for the rest of my life. I'm not even being funny. I want to be buried in these shoes. These are my shoes, my soul shoes in this life. And these are the Louis Vuitton Cherry Series Mules. I wish I remembered because Josh very recently, and I talk about my friend Josh all the time. He's like my Louis Vuitton best friend. My friend Josh, he very recently found a receipt for somebody who had purchased these when they came out like in 2005. And I don't remember exactly what the receipt said, but these bad boys were like, I know they were more than 700. Like these were actually really expensive shoes. I don't know why my dog is making noise, but these were actually very expensive shoes and they are so cute. Oh my gosh. I love these shoes. Like these shoes make me emotional because they are just so perfect. I think they are the most perfect shoe that has ever been made in the history of shoes, basically, because they are perfect. They have this beautiful, perfect cherry Alcantara lining. They have the absolutely jaw-dropping series cherry canvas, and they are all surrounded by this beautiful lizard skin exotic with these big rivets that are gold and the wood platform. The colors on this shoe are perfection. I am a huge fan of mules. I am a huge fan of wooden clog shoes, and I am a huge fan of anything Louis Vuitton cherry. So these shoes, like, again, I'm gonna wrap it up, but I could essentially write a dissertation on why these are the perfect shoes, and I love them so much. They are my favorite pair of shoes, and it was a big milestone finally getting a hold of them because they are pretty hard to find. This is another sort of more original Louis Vuitton multicolor piece of mine. This is one I toy with selling every now and again. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But this is my Louis Vuitton Beverly GM. And you guys know I'm a big fan of the Louis Vuitton Beverly. I feel like it's a really slept on multicolor style. So this is the GM size, very big. I don't know, something about this bag just screams Paris Hilton. Like it just screams Y2K. It just screams like walking through New York City in a Juicy Couture tracksuit. Like it just gives that. And I think that's probably why I never sell it, because I don't use it a lot. To be honest, I prefer this bag in Noir, and I have it in Noir. But this is one I brought from a friend who at the time was going through like a really hard time, and basically was just like, they needed some money and asked me if I would buy it. And I'm just like, well, you know, for one, I love helping a friend out, but I also love Louis Vuitton Multicolor, so of course I'll buy it. And it was sold for very cheap. She only wanted I think $400 for it. So again, and there goes my camera again. She only wanted $400 for it. So it's again that philosophy of like, I'm not gonna leave a $400 Louis Vuitton behind. I was sort of overtaken by how large this dust bag is. That was kind of, I was fighting for my life over here, guys. But in this dust bag is another one of my all-time favorite things, and that is, this one's also a little smushed. That's okay. She just needs a little love here. And that is my Louis Vuitton Multicolor Noir Speedy 40. Me and the Speedy 40 have a love-hate relationship. I purchased my first Louis Vuitton Multicolor Speedy 40 quite a few years ago, and I purchased it in the Blanc. And I purchased it essentially because I was very into collecting multicolor bags, and everybody knows that the Speedy 40 Multicolor is one of the rarest multicolor mainstream bags. So I just wanted to have one because I collected it and they were rare, but I didn't actually like it in the Blanc. This is one of those bags, as I gave the disclaimer, that I actually prefer in Noir to Blanc. So I didn't actually want it in the Blanc, but I got it because when I got it in the Blanc, it was cheap. I brought it for, I think, $1,600. I think I brought it from, I want to say Couture USA, who I still buy stuff from occasionally now. But I brought it for very cheap back then. And so it was one of those bags where I was like, okay, I know I'm buying this for a good deal, and I know these are going to be worth like a lot of money. Couldn't shake that I didn't really like it, and so I ended up selling it for pretty cheap, I would say. So yeah, but I did get the opportunity to buy it in Noir, and I love this bag in Noir. This is one that I actually do carry quite a bit. You know, she's in storage right now, but I do actually carry this one quite a bit because it is a perfect bag. There is a lady a long time ago who was in the Facebook groups, and she posted a picture of her Multicolor Noir Speedy 40, African-American woman, and she posted a picture of it, or no, there was a Caucasian woman who posted a picture of hers on a plane, and there was an African-American woman who posted hers, I think, like just like at an outdoor function. And I remember seeing both of their pictures and just being like, wow, I have to have that bag one day. So to those ladies, you guys were like really my inspiration for tracking down that bag because they both made it look so good. I knew I wanted to have one. So here is that Centenaire edition Multicolor Kelly. Here's the Centenaire edition Multicolor Kelly. I showed you guys the monogram one earlier, and as I told you, I absolutely love the Kelly. Love the Kelly. Here is the stamp where you can see that it is the limited edition Centenaire. You guys know I love Centenaire, so this is also just one of those bags I had to have. When I saw they made the Kelly in Damier bean, had to have it. It was a done deal. Okay, next up, we have, this one needs some shaping too, because this one I stored, but I didn't store it flat, and that was me breaking my own rule, because I always when I am storing my bags, I always store them flat, and I broke my own rule there. But that's okay, because it literally just takes a little bit of love and they're completely back to how they were before. But this is my Louis Vuitton Damier Pettis in the blue Speedy 30. And this was another one of my unicorn bags. I actually carry this one a lot. She is about to get broke in. As I have stated many times, I carry a lot of my bags seasonally because one of the questions a lot of people have for me is like, do you actually carry these bags, or are they just like collection items and you don't actually use them? And as I've broken this down before, I have some items like those book bags that are utility bags. They are bags that I use frequently, usually for travel, and they are not kept up the best most of the time. I then have bags that are considered everyday bags. They are used every day, and they also kind of fall into the category of utility. Like, they get a lot of wear, they get a lot of use. Then I have bags that are my season rotationals. They are bags that I will pull out for something special, and they will be either special in the winter or special in the summer. And the Damier Pettis Speedy 30 is my go-to bag for something special in the winter. Christmassy, New Year's-y, just going out for something nice. I really love that bag, and it is my go-to for a special bag in the winter. So she's about to get put into the rotation. A lot of my Multicolor Blancs bags are about to get put out of the rotation. Those are my summer special, spring special bags, so they're about to get rotated out. So next up, we have my Louis Vuitton No Petite No. This one also just needs a little shaping. And I actually have a pillow in this one, so I don't know why this one's not shaped well. But anyways, this is my Louis Vuitton Multicolor Noir No, Petite No. And I absolutely love the Petite No. I purchased my first Louis Vuitton Petite No many years ago for $400, and it was in the Blanc. I got it from Japan. And again, this was one of those bags where I was like, do I like the bag? Do I hate the bag? And then asking the next question of, do I love the bag? Do I hate the bag? Or do I just like not like it in this print? And that was the case. I did not like this bag in Multicolor Blanc. I absolutely love this bag in Multicolor Noir. And this is another one of those bags that makes the winter rotation. This bag is posted a lot in the winter, and I carry it a lot in the winter. Not so much in the summer. My puppy is here, and he's like smelling all the bags. And you know, Dexter is so smart, and he has so much like shame, because if I ever call him out for doing anything, he immediately stops doing it. Like he heard me say, because he comes over here and he smells the bags, and he gets little marks on, you know, the vachetta from his little wet puppy nose. But you know, I'm to the point now, I really don't care. I consider, honestly, this is going to sound so cheesy, but I consider every little mark my dog leaves on my bags as like a signature, because, you know, he's my dog. He's my superstar. And, you know, I always think about the thing of like, I don't know, I'm not gonna cry, but like one day my little precious boy, he's not gonna be here anymore. And so sometimes, this is so silly, but sometimes I let him put little nose prints on my vachetta because it like reminds me of him. And it's like, one day, Dexter, say hi to the people, say hi. He's just like being wild and ridiculous. But anyways, it's like one day he's not gonna be here anymore, and I will have all the various little boops that he's put on my Louis Vuitton vachetta. So sometimes I just let him do it, as ridiculous as it is, because it's like one day I'm gonna look back on this and it's gonna make me happy, and I'm gonna think about the time that I was trying to film my highly requested Louis Vuitton collection video, Dexter, and you decided to come over here and put your wet little nose on all my things. Now, go busy yourself somewhere. Okay, next up we have, and this one I stored flat, but it still got a little bent somehow, but I stored it flat. We have one of my favorites, absolute staple of every Louis Vuitton collection, if you ask me personally. And this is one that's about to get put into the rotation. So I think this is a good time to film this video, because I'm kind of showing you guys how I rotate in and out my bags based on what's in storage and what's in reach. So this is my Louis Vuitton Multicolor Noir Speedy 30. This is my second Speedy 30. I purchased my first one many years ago. I paid approximately $995, and I brought it from Fashion File long ago. And this is my second one. The first one I had was mostly sort of like blues and greens, but now I've become a pink girl, and I came across this specific colorway here where it's green, pink, purple, green, and I was completely obsessed and fell in love. And the pinks in all four corners, completely obsessed and fell in love. So I basically made it my personal mission to track down this bag with that exact colorway, and I did. And I was able to find this one for $700, which in the modern day, $700, and you can see it's in very good condition for a Noir Speedy 30 is absolutely insane. So again, this is one that's about to be swapped in, because my Multicolor Blanc Speedy 30 is in there for, you know, easy access reach, because that is one of my main bags that I carry during the summer and the spring, and I carry the Noir in the winter and the fall. So that's kind of how I rotate my multicolor bags, just as like a rhythm. Is the Blancs are typically carried in the spring, in summer, and the Noir bags are typically carried in the fall and winter. So I think that is going to be all for part one, because I still have another tote to get through, and I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 display cases to get through. And I still have my shelf to get through. My shelf is where I house the ones that I'm actually carrying like every day. I still have my shelf to get through. So there's actually still, believe it or not, like, I don't even know, probably like 50 bags left, even after all the ones that I just showed you. So we will wrap up this first almost hour, part 1, with these items, and hopefully I will get part 2 and part 3 filmed for you guys shortly so that you guys can see the rest of the collection. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed part 1. I'm the Louis Vuitton Princess. Formerly the Louis Vuitton Princess. I'm the Luxe Bag Princess. I've been collecting Louis Vuitton for about a decade, and I am here to show you guys essentially my luxury collection that I got mostly for really good deals. And I emphasize this all the time. A lot of people say, you have a bunch of Louis Vuitton bags, you must just be rich. And it's like, no, it's not about being rich. But as you guys saw, for a lot of those bags I just went through, most of those bags I brought and I paid like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the resale market price and a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of retail price. So I have a lot of bags. A lot of them are very popular. But most of them I purchased a lot of times when they weren't so popular. And that's one of the biggest reasons I was able to purchase them for so cheap. Nonetheless, I hope to see you guys at part 2. And I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far.